Hey guys, it's Spoonie back with part 2 of the Great DC Deluge, and this time it's about Justice League and related books. Starting off, I've got some classic stories in DC Essential Edition JLA New World Order by Grant Morrison. There is actually another version of these stories. It's called just JLA Volume 1, and both I have seen at the dollar store. So just know that whichever one you get, it is the same content, and both of them collect issues 1 through 9 and the the JLA secret files. Now, this is the lineup most people associate with the Justice League today, but for about a good decade after Crisis on Infinite Earths in the 80s, the Justice League looked very different. You had the sort of comical era with Guy Gardner, Booster Gold, Blue Beetle. They had an international team. I don't think Superman joined till like Justice League issue 50, and that was like a week before he died. So it wasn't since the Silver Age you'd seen this sort of big seven group together. I'm more familiar with the pre Flashpoint continuity, and so for me, Martian Manhunter is very much like the heart and soul of the team. Anyways, these are classic stories. Grant Morrison creates the white Martian race. He created a cool character in Zoriel who was supposed to be a replacement for Hawkman because his continuity was confusing at the time. If you see this or the other version, definitely pick it up. If you haven't read these stories, you're in for a treat. Next, I've got Justice League of America, Power and Glory. This collects the entire series of this volume. It collects issues number 1 through 4 and numbers 6 through 10. Apparently, number 5 was a fill-in issue, I'm assuming while waiting for Brian Hitch's artwork. It's not collected, so I don't know what it's about. Anyways, he's writing and drawing on this one, and I was surprised by how much I liked the story. Basically, what happens is Krypton's god, Rao, comes to Earth, and, who is he really? What does he want here? I was surprised by how much I liked this story. Originally thought it should have just been a Superman story, but I can, there was a very grand scope here. It definitely is worthy of the entire Justice League team. Pick it up if you can. $5, you can't go wrong. Up next is the New 52 Aquaman, Volume 4, Death of a King. This collects issues number 17 through 19 and number 21 through number 25. As I understand it, number 20 was a tie-in with the Others spin-off. Anyways, this is the end of Jeff Johns' run on the character. I really liked his run on this character, but especially this final arc I thought was really cool. And I like that he created a new dynamic as he left the book, so that the next writer, I think was Jeff Parker, who's a really good writer, could sort of pick up with these new threads and start running in a new direction. I've read a little bit of the stuff that comes after John's run on the series, so it's cool to kind of get the sort of closure on that and kind of find out sort of what led to the new dynamic of the book. And staying with the Aquaman family for a sec, I've got Mera, Queen of Atlantis. It was a 6-issue miniseries. It's set in the DC Rebirth era. It's written by Andy Lanning, who was writing the Aquaman books at the time. He had like a 30-something issue run, I think, and this sort of tied into the finale. If I'm wrong, you can correct me. But he's a great writer, and this was a really entertaining story despite knowing nothing about the rest of what's going on. I like the fact that it picked up threads from Jeff Johns' run on the New 52 Aquaman, where Ocean Master was banished to the surface, and then he sort of escaped and was living a life with the family. Anyways, duty calls him back to the sea, and he ends up abandoning his family, and it's pretty sad. But overall, it's a great story. Mera proves herself a really kick-ass queen in exile, and I definitely want to see if I can find the Aquaman books, because it seems like it's probably a really cool story. This was an exciting find for me. Black Lightning. It's called Brick City Blues. It collects the entire 90s series with Tony Isabella. It also includes a Tony Isabella Black Lightning story from DCU Holiday Bash #2. Now, Tony Isabella created the character in the 70s, so him coming back to create a new series in the 90s was kind of a big deal. It apparently was really good, but he only did the first 8 issues, and then a new editor took over and switched the writer, and then so it only lasted another 5 before being canceled. The art looks great in this, and I've heard it's a really cool storyline. I love the 90s era feel, so I'm definitely going to check this one out when I can. And I'll want to get to that before this next book, which is also Black Lightning. It's called Cold Dead Hands. Tony Isabella returns to the character he created almost 40 years ago with a 6-issue miniseries. He is kind of reinterpreting his own character, and so he's making him younger, kind of more earlier in his career, I guess. He is going up against the Whale. Now, I think what was interesting about his redesign of the Whale is he chose to just make him a black person. I believe the original version, he was a black guy with albinism. And Tony Isabella in his foreword, or maybe it's afterward, he explains he made that choice because he noticed a trend of all characters that were albino in comics were villainous. Anyways, the art looks clean, and I'm excited to get into it, because again, it's by the series creators, so for him to reinterpret his own character, I think that's more than fine. Okay, so Flash number 750, the deluxe edition. This also includes a reprint of Showcase number 4, which is basically the birth of the Silver Age with the first appearance of Barry Allen and the reinterpretation of the Flash. So first of all, I'm not really up to date on any of the Flash stuff kind of past the early New 52, like especially Rebirth and on, I don't know much about. But I will say, going into this without knowing anything, I still feel like I got enough information to fully enjoy this story. There was a lot of recapping Flash history, kind of what makes the character so great, and a lot of sort of, I'm assuming, hints at the coming future, which is exciting, makes me want to, jump on the Flash series immediately. Showcase number 4 was actually a delight to read. I've never officially read it before, but for its age, I enjoyed it an awful lot. Here's DC Rebirth, Green Arrow Volume 1, The Death and Life of Oliver Queen. Collects the DC Rebirth Green Arrow #1 special and the first 6 issues of the ongoing Green Arrow series. So as I started to read the book, I actually didn't like the character of Green Arrow. He was being written as very, preachy, even going so far as to call himself a legitimate social justice warrior a few times. But then circumstances happen, and it humbles him a lot, and he starts to resemble more of the Green Arrow that I think you see on the TV series Arrow and the pre-Flashpoint version. The New 52 Green Arrow is one of the things that turned me off DC for a while. I know that they kind of righted the ship with him, especially when the TV show started to get big. But this was a delightful return to something I actually care about with Green Arrow. Next is Green Lanterns, Volume 7, Superhuman Trafficking. Collects Green Lanterns issues number 40 through 43 and the Green Lanterns Annual #1. I did nothing more than flip through this book. This is, of course, Volume 7. It's written by Tim Seeley, and I know he's done other volumes, so I want to wait to get more of them before I kind of start to read this, because I'm assuming he had sort of like a overarching storyline he was going for. I do have a couple of his other books, and one of them is going to be featured in a coming video. Next up is Wonder Woman. It's the New 52 era. This is volume number 8, A Twist of Fate. Collects issues number 41 through 47. This is written by Meredith Finch and drawn by David Finch. And I do have, I believe, the preceding volume number 7 and the following volume number 9, neither which I have read. so this would be a great time to start reading it. And last up is DC Rebirth Wonder Woman Volume 5, Heart of the Amazon. This collects Wonder Woman issues number 26 through 30, Wonder Woman Steve Trevor number 1, and stories from Wonder Woman Annual number 1. The story on this was decent, if a bit cliche. Basically, people find out that Wonder Woman's blood has mystical abilities, and an evil group is trying to harness it. The other stories, however, are not good. The Steve Trevor and the Wonder Woman Annual tales are pretty awful, so at least half this book is good. Anyways, the DC Deluge will continue with part 3. I hope to see you guys there. Bye.